Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another edition of the Opposition Preview. First things first, guys, make sure you smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, all of that good stuff. And as always, leave your thoughts in the comments. And Chelsea head to the Emirates on Sunday, looking for a first win against Arsenal since 2021. Can't quite believe I'm saying that, but yeah, the last couple of trips to the Emirates have been poor. Beating 3-1 under Frank Lampard, humiliated 5-0 last season. We are due a win there, but truth be told, it kind of feels a little bit underwhelming, this one. I'm delighted to be joined by Lee. Mate, great to have you back as always. And we were chatting before we started recording that it kind of feels like I know the cup finals obviously this weekend, and that's perhaps taken a bit more of the media coverage, but compared to recent years, it feels like this is one of the most sort of, I don't say lackluster, but there don't really seem to be much hype or build up around this Arsenal-Chelsea game. I mean, do you feel it's lost a bit of edge?
No, I don't think it's lost a bit of edge. I think it's just circumstances. It's the first time, now you said that, like, we ain't lost here and all that, like, I've sort of got my little appetite back for it a little bit. But no, it's always been a game that I've always looked forward to, and the rivalry and everything. But this time around, I don't know whether it's just because we both played in Europe this week, and I think both of us have focused on different things. I don't know. Like, both teams have not, if I'd be really honest, can I say it, since January, since December, we've not really hit the heights that I thought that both of us were going to. If I'd be honest, we've both been disappointing since the turn of the year. And yeah, I suppose when we get there, I suppose the atmosphere and everything will be hyped up a little bit. But I think that's a great comment you make about the cup final being on the later on in the. Maybe there's a little bit of that we both didn't get there for whatever reasons, and you're sort of thinking maybe, well, definitely for us because it was a semi-final. I sort of earmarked the 16th of March as a Wembley trip, like, and unfortunately we've got you. Do you know when that fixture come out, you're sort of looking at it and thinking, well, we might not be playing each other. It'd be a midweek game because either one of us would probably get to the final. That's how I thought. Not just Arsenal. I thought that Chelsea might, with the squad that you've got.
We were out in the third round. I mean,
Newcastle
bumped us out easy. I mean, obviously, Arsenal second, Chelsea fourth, 6 points between the two sides. We could close the gap to 3, or you could make it 9 points. Who would you say this game's more important for? Obviously, Arsenal's title aspirations are gone now. I suppose all the eggs are in the Champions League basket. I mean, Chelsea's still going for top 4. I mean, look, I wouldn't expect Arsenal to drop out of the top 4, but you never know. A couple more bad results and things could easily bunch up. It is really close in that part of the table, sort of between kind of 3rd down to 8th or 9th. There's about 5 or 6 points, and that can change very quickly. Who would you say this is more important for?
I think it's important for both, for the top 4. If I'll be really honest, I think Arsenal, if we don't win this game, I think Arsenal, for the top 4 race, a win or a draw is better for us than it is for you guys. You know what I mean? If I'll be honest, I think the draw would suit us more because it keeps the points the same and another game down. But if we were to lose this game, we've got to be looking over our shoulder, because that would mean 2 points out of a possible 12. So I think that we would be in a real poor set of form then, So I think this is an important game for us to make sure that we get a championship qualification, Champions League qualification. Now, when you say that, I know it hasn't got the oomph of going for the title, but that's the reality of it. We've got to get into the top 4. And when you look at what happened in the week and the trip to Real Madrid, I suppose you don't really want to be not involved in those games. So it's a big game from that point of view. So I do think that if Arsenal win it, it's a big stride for us to get into the top 4. But if Chelsea were to win this one, it's so tight with a lot of teams there. A little bit of bad form from Arsenal now, and they could easily drop out of this.
I mean, this is it though, isn't it? Like, you look how tight it is. Couple wins, and you can put yourself into the top 4. Couple losses, you could be 7th or 8th. Like, that's how close it is right now. And that's how kind of fine the margins are. Obviously, Arsenal wanted the title this season. You were so close last season. I thought the summer window was poor. Didn't show to me that was a club that was serious about pushing on and trying to take that last step to get the title. It's not worked out. Liverpool have obviously had an exceptional season. Where are you at with Mikel Arteta, Lee? Because I'm seeing quite a big divide between some fans are staunchly behind him, others not convinced he's the guy. And I'm seeing, I know social media is not the best place to go, but I'm seeing people making a lot of excuses for Arteta. Where are you at with him? And given the backing that he's had, given the fact that you didn't sign a striker, given the fact you did nothing in January, given the fact that Mikel has had, a reasonable say, if I'm not incorrect, in transfer activities and whatnot, does he deserve to be here next season if you win nothing?
Listen, I understand when fans say that. I get that. I get that. For me, it's not just about that. I think that he deserves the right to be given another year because of what he's done. I think we've had 2 fantastic seasons out of 3. I know he's been here for 5, and people say that, but the first 2 were a rebuilding job. And I think the last three seasons, 2 of them have been really, really good. This season's been a massive, massive disappointment. So, but pressure, well and truly on. And when people say to me, "Oh, he should go," and they're all arguing and things like that, I don't really have a case to defend. You know what I mean? But it's just personal preference now. Is that I'm not buying into this thing. Oh, there's no one better. What a lot of people say, and we're not going to get. No, I don't go down that route because the club will always carry on. If Mikel leaves tomorrow, we've still got to go and find someone. So, but I do think that we've challenged. You look at other teams in the league, and we get ridiculed for being the only team that's challenged for the title. That's because it's ridicule Arsenal because we don't really want to look at in our own house light and see what's wrong. So I get that, but I still think that we're very much one of the best teams in the league consistently. We've just got to see it over the line. Now, if you want to say to me like, would you bet every penny you've got in that Mikel's the right man? I'm not betting a lot of money because I've seen flaws in this particularly this season which worry me about him. I.e. that big games like Newcastle, 2-leg semi-final, never laid a glove on them. Other big games, when you look back last season, Bayern Munich over 2 legs didn't perform. There's been games, so big games when we've not performed. So it's important that we start getting the momentum and ready for next season and winning games. And I'm really looking at him this time around now to really not fall by the wayside, because I think if Arsenal were to lose to Chelsea, then lose another one, and then we're hanging on and we drop out the top 4, then you're in a different conversation to what we're having now. Or we limp over the line. I want to see something where I think, like there's been a lot of difficulties this season. Show your mettle, and I don't think you can really run around the excuses at this moment of too many injuries. We've got 2 players out that would be in the side, and that's Kai Havertz and Saka. Two important players to us up front, but it's only 2. You still got your goalkeeper, you still got your back 4, you still got the midfield, your best midfield. So the excuses of injury. Listen, we know what it's like if you're missing your best striker and all that, but with Havertz, he isn't really like the Didier Drogba or Thierry Henry sort of centre forward, if you know what I mean. And so there's going to be pressure on him. There is going to be pressure on him. I think he's done very, very well, but there's got to be a conversation sooner or later when you've got to say, well, we're Arsenal Football Club. There's got to be pressure. Chelsea manager will be under pressure if you don't get into top 4.
100%.
And rightly so. Rightly so. If he gets into top 4, I think that, it'll be okay. But I was talking to a Chelsea fan yesterday, top 4 is okay for this season for Chelsea. Frank Lampard got that in a very, very difficult season. And then when
we had a transfer ban and we got that. So, and that's still one of our best seasons, unfortunately, in recent times. I mean,
so you can't get a new manager.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I've noticed, Lee, which is kind of surprised me a little bit, is last season you played great football. You were a joy to watch. I hate to say it, but Arsenal were a great watch last season. Really exciting football. This season, the football under Arteta has been nowhere near as exciting. No. It's been quite dull. Why do you feel with largely the same group of players? I mean, there's been a few additions here and there, but why do you think the football and the style of football's taken quite a drastic 360 from what was a very pleasing style of football to watch to now something that's not that great? What would you put that down to?
I think it's because it's more control in the game, which is definitely what we have. We have more percentage of the game, but that doesn't mean to say that, when you're hitting 70%, sometimes teams let you do that. I don't think we've been nowhere near as entertaining as last season. There's been a lot of games this season where I've been bored. Totally bored out of my head, you know what I mean? You think I'm spending all this money for this. I get it, we're controlled, but 10 games, 10 draws, that tells you that tells me that you're a good side, but there's something missing. There's an ingredient missing, and we know what that ingredient is. And I think because we haven't got that excitement up front, I think we're lacking. And I don't think Arsenal have been a great watch this season. I don't know how many times I've watched Arsenal and thought, well, that was a great game. The game against Man United, can anybody say that was a great game? It was a good game last 10, 15 minutes when both sort of teams went for it, but teams are not doing that against us. I don't know how Chelsea are going to play. If Chelsea, our last sort of 3 games that when teams have come out to us and played are PSV, Manchester City and Crystal Palace. 5-1, 5-1, 7-1. So if teams are going to come out and do that, we can destroy it. So there's a way of beating Arsenal, or there's a way not to lose to Arsenal. And if you defend deep and better. I don't know if Chelsea would do that. If they do that, we're in trouble. But if you want to come out and play against us, then it could be an entertaining game. But it shouldn't be on Chelsea, or it shouldn't be on the opposition how they play for us to be entertaining. We should go, right, if you're going to play that, bro, we're going to do this and break you down.
You want to play on the front foot at home, don't you? In a home game, you expect the home side to kind of take control of it, have a go and whatnot. I don't think we're going to come and sit deep and put 5 behind the ball or anything like that. But also, I don't think we're going to come and go mad and have a real go. I think under Maresca, we obviously have a lot of possession, a lot of control of the ball. We try and control the game. There's a lot of kind of sideways, backwards passing, trying to wait for that key moment. But also, if Arsenal do commit men forward, we have got players that we can cause damage on the counter-attack, whether it's Neto, who's doing a bit better through the middle now as a bit of a makeshift striker. Palmer, I know, is not in good form, but he's got that quality where he can make something happen out of nothing. I mean, Sancho's not playing well at all. Nkunku's not really looking at the races either. The young kid, Tyreek George, has been doing all right recently. In midfield, we're okay. Enzo, Caicedo. I think it's going to be an interesting battle in midfield. Rice, Odegaard, Caicedo, Enzo. But briefly, Lee, what have you made of Chelsea this season? Started really well. We were playing some of the best football in the league, certainly in that first part of the season. Had a big drop-off kind of the last few months. We are now 4 wins in a row in all competitions heading into this game. We do sit 4th, but again, that's going to be changing each week with how close it is. Where are you at with Chelsea? What have you made of what Maresca's done so far? Because obviously, this is just his second season of senior managerial experience. Have you been impressed by him or a bit disappointed?
No, I'm not been impressed. I'm not disappointed because it's Chelsea. I've got to say, but I haven't been. I remember when Arsenal played Fulham, we drew. Was it 1-1 or I can't remember? It was 1-1, 0-0. It weren't the greatest of games. And coming back from Craven Cottage, Tottenham were playing Chelsea. Chelsea were 2-0 down when we come out, walking out on the train. And thought, wow. But Chelsea come back that day and won it. And I think then we're joint top or a couple of points behind Liverpool, but 5 points in front of us. And I thought, wow, they've got to be considered as a title challenger. And I remind me of the games that you had, but you definitely had Ipswich away in that game.
Lost to Fulham at home on Boxing Day. Drew against
I looked at the teams on the thing and I thought, well, they're going to be about 10, 15 points in front of us with the games that we had coming up. And all of a sudden the wheels fell off for them. And I don't think that really. I think if I'll be really honest, Chelsea got a bit of a pass from everybody, really, and the manager got a pass for how poor that run was, because you put yourself in a position to really challenge for the league, and a few of the Chelsea mates are like, we ain't going to win the title, we ain't going to challenge and all that. Like, well, sometimes you have to take advantage of that. Like a couple of years ago, we didn't think we was in that position, but we carried on going, didn't win it in the end. But I think that Chelsea and the managers had a little bit of an easy ride on it, considering it's Chelsea and considering what it is, and also that the players that you had, and also no European football to where you, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, where you had to play your top players. There was games where you could rest the whole 11 players.
Oh yeah, Conference League is the quality's not.
Yeah,
still early on we were playing two different teams, a different 11 on a Thursday, different 11 Sunday.
So the tiredness sort of thing couldn't really be laid at the Chelsea door. So I think that there's a few things there to worry the manager. Worry if I was a Chelsea supporter with the manager. And now, things have, pressure's off a little bit. Also, domestically in the cups, Chelsea I thought would do a lot better than what they have.
Yeah,
and they haven't.
That's been a massive disappointment from the supporters. Dumped out by Newcastle, literally kind of just put a second string side out in that game, asking for trouble. And then, we lost at Brighton in the FA Cup as well with a pretty abject performance. So that's disappointing, because we haven't won a domestic cup since 2018. And you expect Chelsea to be doing better. I'm not saying we're going to win them every season, but you expect Chelsea to be going to the latter stages, and that has been a major disappointment. There's no doubt about it. And the season's kind of weird, because if you'd said to me at the start of the season, a lot of Chelsea fans, in the middle of March, you'd be fourth in the Premier League, we would have taken that all day long.
I get that.
But given where we were, if we're being honestly, we should probably be ahead of you.
100%.
We probably should be ahead of, or we should at least be level on points. We should probably be ahead or level on points of Arsenal. So that's where I think a lot of the frustration from Chelsea fans comes from, is that the winnable games that we lost, even if we just won a couple more of them, we'd be second, and suddenly the season's got a very different feel and a very different conversation surrounding the manager and what we're doing. So, but we've got a really tough run in. Obviously, we starting with Arsenal Sunday, but our last four games are Newcastle away, Liverpool home, Man United home, and Forest away on the last day of the season. We've got some tricky games coming up. We've still got to go to Brentford as well. So it's going to be tough. The top five's no guarantees whatsoever.
No, I think you've got Spurs at home as well, haven't you?
Spurs at home as well, straight after the break.
Yeah, he's not an easy game. Good luck with that one. But it ain't an easy game playing them. And I just think that, listen, you win the Conference League, and if you don't, there's got to be big question marks. Because I think that was always going to be a gimme. And I suppose at the end of it, if you were to get into the top four, you'll say that's a good foundations to build on, But I would look a little bit deeper into that and go, when it really mattered, when January was about, and that December, January time when there was a real chance to kick on, you didn't. He had that sort of slump at Leicester the season before.
He was. Do you know what's mad, right? I spoke to a few Leicester fans. At Christmas, they were 19 or 20 points clear at the top of the table, and then they literally ended up going up by a point. Yeah,
so I do think there's lots of questions to be on the manager, and I get it. You want your young manager and everything like that, but I've always said this with Chelsea, whether you agree with it or not, they're a different animal the way that they go about things. And if you ain't or weren't to get Champions League football, there's an interesting conversation there at Chelsea. Now, one of my Chelsea mates said, well, whatever happened, we've got to keep him because we've got to build continuity and things like that. But there's a culture at Chelsea that's not right, and it's been successful in the past. They don't mess about when it comes. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Arsenal are completely on the different scale of that. They will give their managers time, but Chelsea are not on that scale, and Chelsea wing have won things doing that. So it'll be really, really interesting to see what happens. And I think that I was talking to my Chelsea mate, I don't know if Chelsea fans will agree, and people that are watching this, that if it was to come down now, we can win, we can get top 4 and not take the conference, they take that. You know what I mean? Like it is very, very important that Chelsea get top 4.
For the benefit of the football club, in terms of financially and attracting players and whatnot and budgets and things, the top 4 is more important than a Conference League. But Chelsea fans want both. But if you had to have,
well, of course,
as a fan, I'm sure you're the same. As a fan, I'd rather the trophy because that's what you remember.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying you remember the Conference League, but you remember the days out winning trophies and stuff. You don't go, I remember that season we come 4th. But from a club perspective, the top 4 in Champions League football is more important and more beneficial to Chelsea than winning a Conference League would be. But the Conference League is actually important because it gets you Europa League football. And right now, I know we're 4th, but there's no guarantees we qualify for Champions League. So if we can get that guaranteed Europa League football by winning the Conference League, that just gives us a little bit of a buffer in case things were to go a bit south in the league and we didn't finish in the top 5 or whatever it might be. But just around out, Lee, how do you expect this game to go? I've spoken to a few people about this game. You've got key attackers missing. We've got key players missing. A lot of people thinking this could be a bit of a drab affair, low scoring, maybe 0-0, maybe 1 each or something like that. I mean, what sort of a game are you expecting?
Not a very good one.
I hear it.
I'm not. You know what I mean? I might be surprised, and it'll be a good game, but I'll be honest. I think maybe 1-0, 1-1, 1-0 to Chelsea. Either one of those 3 results, I would not be surprised on. Would not be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked if it's 3-0 either way. Both teams, I'd be very, very shocked. So I don't really see it being a very good game. I see it being very, very cagey, a little bit cancelling each other out. I do see that. The last 3 games in the league with Arsenal have not filled me with anything really to write home about. We done okay against Forest because it's a difficult place to go, but it wasn't, a brilliant game to watch. The PSV, I know we'd already won that game, but when you've already won that game, you make chances. I did think it'd be a little bit more entertaining than it actually was. So it's just the way that Arsenal play at this moment in time is not that fantastic to watch, and that's a reality. So maybe that's why I'm not really looking forward to going to games at me, because I think last season and the season before, 9 times out of 10 we win, but it was entertaining as well. I'm not really getting any of that this season. So this season's been a big, big disappointment for me for lots of reasons. So we'll have to wait and see that. But I don't think it'd be a great game. If we get the 1-0 win, we'd be pleased. But you just move on to the next one. That's not really what you want with an Arsenal-Chelsea game. But unfortunately, that's what I think we get.
Yeah, no, I hear it. To be honest, mate, the highlight for me the last few years at the Emirates has been bringing a few inflatable Champions League trophies. That's been it. That's been the highlight of it. That was the best bit about last season, and then got absolutely smashed. So I'm hoping that's not going to be the best part of it. But for Chelsea, we can get a result. This is probably our best chance of getting a positive result at the Emirates for a number of years. Obviously, depending on the circumstances, depending on how the game pans out, I would be hugely, hugely disappointed if we lose this game, because we're starting to develop a tag of not being able to win big games away from home, and that's not something you want. We don't want a big game away from home. I'm talking Old Trafford, Emirates, Etihad, or Anfield since 2021. We're going on 4 years nearly, and for a club like Chelsea, that's unacceptable. So that needs to stop. And if we're going to move forward and challenge in the future, your record away from home against the big teams has got to improve. But I agree with you, mate. I think it's going to be quite a poor game. But don't get me wrong, if it's a crap game and we win 1-0, I'll be absolutely delighted. I'll have no issues at all with the quality of the game. But Lee, thanks so much for your time, mate. It's greatly appreciated. If for whatever reason people don't know where you're at and what you do, let them know.
Yeah, like Lee Mark Judges on X and on Instagram, and of course Lee Judges TV as well. So that's where you can get me, like, you know, and if you want to banter me after the Chelsea game, more than welcome to do so.
I might pop over, say hello after the game, Lee.
Can do that, no problem.
Well, it depends. If we lost, you won't see me.
I'm one of those, are you just going to sneak?
No, I'm joking. No, I'm not like that. I'm not like that. Right, yeah, no, guys, make sure you check out Lee's stuff. Loads of great content. Go and subscribe to him. Show him some love, people. Smash the likes. Make sure you subscribe to myself as well, guys, and we'll catch you again in another one soon.